respond with? Are we expecting a Vayne, maybe?
I'm thinking Vayne. I mean, we've seen his prolific play from Ezreal and Vayne. We haven't really seen him play much of the other things. I know a lot of people who play Ezreal can transition very easily into Corki and stuff, but just Reckless's Vayne play throughout the tournament and even throughout DreamHack was amazing. His, people call it orb walking, it's just his ability to move in between the attacks on Vayne is almost unmatched. And maybe I was wrong there. We could see that Ahri coming through again. They liked the Diana matchup that last time. Let's see if it works again.
But are they just trying to mind game them here? Are they trying to keep it out there and say, no, we're not really going to use...
Done.
Wow, they have.
Locked it in. I mean, so they had the matchup in game one.
It worked well
for them. It worked for them that
yeah.
game. They're just going to go for it again.
Yeah, and why not? I mean, if it works once, then technically it can work again. Whether that's the same thing or not, we'll have to see. There was this in shower again. We saw it earlier on in the jungle with Cyanide. Been a successful champion for him. And again, it goes back to that game number one. This time they've got that Zyra support in there as well.
So let's see what WE does. The Nunu is really something we haven't seen much of. That is definitely new. And, you know, Olaf, Wei Zhao, that's going to be a Xiao Mei pick up in the top lane, most likely, unless they decide to jungle him. Vayne locked in straight away for Fnatic. So this is really going to be an interesting match.
So the final setup, the pick, will it be taking Sona? I'm not too sure what sort of support he's going to go with. He's been with Leona so many times, I'm kind of expecting it.
Well, they already have their Zyra support here, so at this point they're picking their top laner.
Yes.
And they aren't 100% sure if he's going up against Olaf. Soaz is shown to be more versatile than almost any other top laner in this entire tournament. We saw some amazing Kha'Zix play from him earlier if they're really looking for that assassination comp. But this is just his versatility. Malphite, we haven't seen that yet this set.
That is a possible Lulu finisher. So yeah, that's the great thing about N-Rated. I think he's got more champions available to him than anyone else, than any other top laner that we see at this level of the game. Maybe, you know, a few of the other guys have got things to say about that one, but the range that that Soaz has brought out in this tournament for us, and at tournaments before, he's a really innovative top lane player.
I mean, he's played, just in this tournament alone, Jace, Lee Sin, Rengar, Shen, Jax, Kha'Zix, and now Malphite. So a huge champion roster he has, all of them being very successful. It's going to be a very tricky matchup for him, though. Like, Olaf does beast on Malphite typically in the top lane. Whether they do lane swaps or not, we'll have to see, because WE might actually have an advantage in both a 1v2 setup and a 2v2 setup. Going to be tough for Fnatic to lane here.
Yeah, and that's something we've not seen so far. They've been quite happy to just bash against each other in standard lane formation. Will it be something that even maybe Fnatic will try and go for? But like you mentioned, WE have just got a better comp for that if they're going for that switch.
I think that's one of the reasons they picked that Lulu in the last edge. Obviously, FZZF, or even not FZZF particularly, but WE used to play a lot of Lulu. They were one of the first teams to invent almost that fast push, 3-stack in a lane very early, and just rush down a turret. They're very ready for this team composition. We could see a bit of a mix-up in this match if we do see that lane swap, because the team comps are kind of predicting it.
So, down to the nitty-gritty, who's going to win this one?
You know what? I like Team Fnatic's lineup, and I like the fact that Reckless is
fans
on
like it
Vayne,
too.
And the fans do like it, and you can see it on your screens. 53% to 47% if you are watching at home online. If you're not one of the lucky few thousand that are here live watching it, you can get onto ign.com/IPL and you can vote on there. There's an iOS app as well, so you can download that and get your votes going. As it stands, the Europeans are still awake. It's 2 a.m. currently in the UK, so there's a lot of people staying up late in Europe to try and make sure they can finish this one out. But it is game point for Team WE.
Cannot wait to see how this plays out. Going to be into the loading screen here. These guys have been playing all weekend. So difficult. Fnatic having to play all day already. They've been here since 10 a.m. playing matches. See if that fatigue sets in. It doesn't seem to have happened yet.
Yeah, they have to have that stamina, and they have to keep focused, and that's really the hard point of it. Not playing so many games in a day, but keeping the focus throughout those games, because when they're at home, they'll play easily this many games in a day, but they're not going to be solidly focused. And against a team like World Elite, you can't take your finger off the button for any length of time.
It's not like throwing a baseball around. You can do that all day, but actually pitching the entire time or hitting the entire time is just the focus and pressure that comes into absolutely every single one of these games definitely takes a toll. Cannot wait.
As you can see on your screens, they are your players. Fnatic on the left-hand side, WE on the right. We are underway. So we will get into the game. If you've just joined us, ladies and gentlemen, where have you been all day? It's 2-1 currently to Team WE, and there on your screen is Fnatic, the European team, trying their best to prevent the Asian dominance creeping into League of Legends. Team WE as the red team in the top right-hand corner, chat. What are we expecting for level 1 fights? We've seen so much cat and mouse so far in the last 2 games.
And again, right away, more cat and mouse. All 5 of Fnatic straight running into the brush that was predictably warded by Team WE, so they know that Fnatic just walked in, and there's 4 waiting up in this tri-bush. They do not have all 5, though, so if they did clash in, they might have to fall back. Warding the red buff and then seemingly just backing out of there, but with the position of their recall, there's no way that Fnatic's going to know, or that Team WE is going to know where they went back.
And all of them, all 5, headed straight back there. So let's have a look here in terms of lane swaps. I mean, we've got Lulu and Ezreal in this top side. However, Olaf is also there, but I would say that Olaf with that teleport may just hang around here and then go straight into that bottom lane to set up the 2v1s.
The teleport is going to be in the favor of Team WE here, because in game 1 we saw Soaz brought that teleport, and he really put impact onto the bottom lane for them. So really, he can go wherever he wants. You already see Fnatic setting up for that 1v2. I think you mentioned that. Delayed invade for the blue buff as well, and with Xin Zhao starting over at Wraiths, they might try to make something happen early.
They might try and make something happening early. You can see, can they go for the blue buff? We are seeing the Wraith's going to get picked up. We are at 150. The blue buff is about to spawn. Salme thought about backing off there, Joe. He's just going to poke around a moment.
Well, we've heard in the background the Chinese side screaming, so we know something is going to be coming up here very shortly. You see Salme headed up towards that red buff, already been started off here at the back, obviously by Fnatic's top lane. Reckless actually taking a little bit of damage, and here they come around the side, and Rayton having to flash over the top, but there is Lulu from the side. First one way out, and there's the exhaust as well. Dear. The second coming down for Lulu. What a start for World Elite.
That was unbelievable prediction by Team WE. They knew the way they initiated that fight, that the only way out for Fnatic was to flash over the Baron Pit, and they were just waiting for it. Completely cleaned that up, and the fact that those kills went to Ezreal and Lulu is just pain for Reckless's vein in that top lane.
And you can see that in the jungle, it is Cyanide sat ready and waiting, but he stood right on top of a ward, and they're just baiting it. And he comes around, and then Salme straight up the backside. Cyanide does get a lucky knock up on towards Salme, but just managed to wait this one out and does back off. But how does this equate to the advantages? First blood went to Wei Zhao.
And it's a brilliant start for Team WE. One more game, and they're the champions of IPL5. So this is again with Fnatic. Their backs completely against the wall right off the bat. Really, the Ezreal Lulu lane with the poke advantage. It's going to be very hard for Reckless to farm this lane. They haven't yet shopped, though, so the advantage hasn't really ticked in yet. But as soon as they go back and buy those first items, it's going to be real trouble for Fnatic's duo lane.
Yeah, and look at that 1v1 lane. The advantage that Malphite's got already. He's up to level 3 to the level 2 of Salme, because he had to cover there 15-3 in the CS. Obviously, Salme going to be catching this one up here nonetheless, but a great start for Soaz, at least, in this bottom lane. In terms of the AD carries, big business as well for Ezreal.
We're really going to have to see in this bottom lane how the teleport interacts with Xiaomei's playstyle. He picked the teleport on Olaf to impact other lanes, and also because he feels confident in his ability to beat Malphite straight up in that matchup. As you said, though, he has the experience disadvantage due to the level 1 roam they created. He's going to have to play a bit of catch-up, but once he gets there, really want to see how that lane develops.
Cyanide trying to make things create in the mid lane now, come around towards Rex Peke, and it's going to be Clearlove getting in there. Just manages to get the snowball on him, does manage to take him low. It should be low enough. Peke tried to charm it. One more hit on towards Clearlove wasn't enough. Cyanide still following through on this one, but he's not going to have enough to chase it down. So
Clearlove's jungle Nunu really doing some work early here. They may have just confused Fnatic a bit in the picks, picking that Nunu early. Everyone assumed it was going to be a support Nunu. Really may not have been completely ready for that early counter jungling, and ganks coming out there. Again, just giving them even more early advantages. 1,800 gold this early can snowball if Fnatic doesn't play very cautiously.
And I think that Soa's going to have a bit of a hard time here. Salme has done well. He's actually caught right up in the CS. He's just a little bit behind in terms of levels, but he's going to really start to hurt this Malphite. You know, once he takes down that passive shield, then it's all about hitting him with a reckless swing time and time again.
That is just that matchup favoring Olaf very heavily, and Fnatic actually last picked Malphite, so they're very much looking at for their team comp dive. They really want to be able to just shut down Wei Xiao and dive all the way in. Very bold move, though, because they're really giving up almost all their lanes with the picks and more looking for team fights. Zyra Vayne isn't going to beat Ezreal Lulu in the lane. Malphite isn't going to be beating Olaf in the lane. Even Diana was beating up Ahri in the first game matchup that they played and won. So when they fell behind early with those early ganks, it really puts them at a disadvantage because they were already opting into one. It's just even greater now.
So 3-0 currently. Team WE with the advantage. Clearlove doing a little drive-by in that mid lane, picking up a little bit of CS as he goes. Top lane, big advantage to Wei Xiao. Got that first blood. Has equated to a bit of a gold advantage. 600 gold already, just 6 minutes gone because of that first blood. But again, Enrated trying to capitalize. This is the first time they got Zyra. They're going to really need to make it pay.
Zyra is one of the most annoying supports to play against in lane. She has the longest auto attack and honestly one of the smoothest attacks as well in top lane. So we'll see how they're able to pressure back against this. But with the disadvantage, we'll see once they shop in mid lane. Cyanide walking right into Clearlove.
Yeah, Clearlove could be in trouble here. PK actually moving it around the side. Charm not quite landing. And Clearlove will be able to escape with his life from that one. In this top lane, obviously, we can see here that Wei Xiao, we already know, got that CS lead, being able to bully his Fnatic lane around somewhat. And is it all about Cyanide here getting involved in this top lane to try and get that snowball running for Vayne?
It's one of the trickiest situations when you have a very important lane losing, because ganking a losing lane is one of the most dangerous things a jungler can ever do, especially because it's usually covered in wards, and if the enemy jungler's there for a counter gank, you're probably just going to screw the lane over even more. So he wants to put pressure on there, but they have to be very cautious in the way they do. Nunu is amazing at setting up counter ganks.
So looking at this bottom lane at the moment, Soaz actually winning out in CS, but Zame, you can see he's got a big chunk of farm there. Mid lane still even between those two, despite the fact the kill advantage is with Messiah. Top lane as well, slight advantage to Wei Xiao. Of course, that gold as well with the kill. Just seeing where the Cyanide's going to help down bottom. Not really going for any aggression on any of the lanes at the moment. It's just letting the Flames farm themselves out. You can see Reckless trying to put the pressure onto FCZF on that top lane, but we do see an invade come in from WE.
And you know that Fnatic is trying to play this one soft because they've had that 2,000 gold disadvantage for a while. Cyanide getting hurt.
Cyanide flashing actually back in there. He's actually got PK for support, but Cyanide gonna drop me. Cyanide trying to get away. Here comes the teleport as well from Olaf, and that's gonna be more to secure this one. Actually popping Ragnarok, and Rayton in the middle of nowhere will flash away. But right now they are starting off this blue buff, and Rayton gonna be in trouble. Reckless can't really join the rest of the team either.
And up top there, we actually had Reckless dueling Wei Xiao. He was barely able to escape, and a fight continues.
Messiah getting taken down. Soaz getting straight in there. Does manage to get the kill. Can they turn it around in towards anything else? Soaz coming from behind at the moment, as is Reckless coming around the side. The roots, the grasping roots landing, but PK is taking so low. One more blast. Oh, and he just flashes out with the ultimate. Soaz flashing away from Salme as well. It is back and forth action, and rated again. Has got the grasping root. No, the charm just missing. Reckless was following that one up.
So a 2-for-1 at the end of the day, but actually Soaz catching out Xiao Mei, and Reckless might follow in for the kill.
We'll have to see if Reckless can get that condemn to stop Xiao Mei. Obviously, his ultimate was already used, and he's just going to stand there in that tri-bush and head himself back home. So a bit of a crazy exchange there. It leaves us overall picture 4-1 in kills, 11.7 to 9.3 thousand gold.
And the Ezreal ultimate just about came in and obliterated Enrated, but he was able to dodge. What that was WE trying to put the pressure onto Fnatic because there was a 2,000 gold disadvantage right at the start of the game, seemingly, and Fnatic is really just trying to farm this one out and keep it even. That was WE first invade chance, and the huge thing I really want to watch here is Wei Xiao going back to base with 2,300 gold. When he converts this, he's really going to take that pressure right back to Reckless.
Straight into a BF sword, no mess in there. Wants that damage out, and that's going to, like you say, put the pressure on towards Reckless. Reckless is going to have to sit back. He wants to get that Phantom Dancer built up slowly but surely, but he's a long way away from that one. PK in the mid, farming out. Cyanide now successfully did give that blue buff against 2 PK after all that fighting. Clearlove continuing to pick up the red buff, and now let's see whether he's going to do a drive-by on any of the lanes. He seems to be successfully working on Nunu so far.
And the Nunu is going to be a very interesting choice. It's going to be early game pressure and then some late game help for Ezreal, but he's, you know, Jungle Nunu is really just another support that you've added onto your team. It's going to be interesting to see if they have enough damage. At the very least, they have the early kills onto Wei Xiao, and when you pick a Nunu, you're really putting all your eggs in one basket. They need Wei Xiao to get going in this game. Luckily, he has.
Now in the solo lane, which is down at the bottom this time around. Obviously 1-0 for Malphite, who's got double GP10 right now with the Heart of Gold and the Philostone. Xiaomei coming back into the lane with the Heart of Gold and the Ninja Tabba here for this one. There's the Oracle on Clearlove. He's going to get rid of these wards at the top, but also Jack makes him a prime target when it gets towards fights.
And a big thing about that Oracles, though, is he's just making it even more impossible for Cyanide to help out top lane and shut down Wei Xiao. He's not going to safely go up there and engage in a potential 3v3 against a team that's ahead of him. He's just going to put the team farther behind. He wants to run up. He's going to have to probably try to gank from the brush in that top lane. But because of the Oracle's pressure that Clearlove is putting on so early, it's even more difficult.
So PK putting pressure on towards that mid turret. I just want to point out actually down that bottom lane, you know, the fact that Soaz did go wandering. Xiaomei caught up and passed. He was about 10 CS behind, and then he went straight to about 20 CS advantage. So Xiaomei really catching back up on Soaz, but Soaz is not so much about the farm, more about the unbreakable will and just diving in there, just completely stomping on the team if he was to catch them out. We have a 3-man stack in the top, Jack.
And this is the gank that they're trying to do. Wei Xiao, 2v3 if they want to dive in on this. Messiah just taking out Wraiths. If they get some kind of pick, this is what they'll need to get themselves back in the game. This will be really tense.
They've just pinged Diana's position down by those Wraiths. And they're waiting in there. Enrated actually going to get hit, but currently I don't think that they've spotted Cyanide. Actually, FZF is going to face check this one. There come the roots. There's the ultimate as well. Neither connecting. And they will stay safe in this top lane. Cyanide going to have to back away.
That was one of those moments where Enrated thought he landed the root and he was going to try to perfectly combo it with his ultimate, so FZF couldn't flash away. And he needed to use both those skills right off the bat. Couldn't wait to see if it landed, otherwise it wouldn't have comboed. Just an unfortunate timing. FZF able to escape. Dragon attempt by Team WE.
XPK just used his ultimate there in that mid lane, which means Team WE quite happily going to come down, pick up this Dragon. There's nothing that Fnatic can do about it. That's going to stretch them. And, well, the gold advantage is stretching to 4K now. Oh, Cyanide is going to walk straight into the bush there. Has to use his crescent sweep, but it's not going to be enough to turn it around. Here comes the charm. Doesn't quite get it down. And PK with the flash just has to get out of there. Doesn't have his ultimate available, but he does avoid the damage.
And that could be disaster there because he had picked up the Oracle's elixir. He needed it to try to get some of that map pressure back. And he got that Oracle's before he got any gold per 10 items. He's really going to be setting himself far behind here. Devastating death for Cyanide.
Yeah, but that's what we didn't really point on in the middle. We do have
Malphite is actually mid lane.
Yeah, Malphite coming in there onto Xiaomei. Actually, Xiaomei will be staying safe. But that was the point. Now, we talked about the Nunu picking up the Oracle early on, which is fine when they've got the advantage, because then it forces Cyanide to have it. They've just taken him down after he face checks a bush. Like, very, very bad position for Fnatic to be in, as the charm is going to land on Xiaomei.
Ragnarok pop by Xiaomei there in that mid lane. They're diving on. We're back up to the top, but it's the mid lane where the action's happening. His PK has to use his ultimate to get away from the damage there. Back and forth action currently, keeping the cameraman on his toes.
And Xiaomei really just ulting immediately. The Blood Boil came in, forcing XPK to just get away. And again, the Oracle Elixir from Clearlove roaming up through the top. They ping him down. A dying ward actually saw him as he ran by. And really, that top lane is still getting a little bit iffy. That's 40 minion kills now that Wei Xiao is ahead of Reckless. And Diana might be sneaking around the back. They know the support is gone. This could be a deadly 4-man dive onto Reckless.
Oh, minion wave coming in. Reckless going to get snowballed up here. Is after going to use his ulti, but you're not surviving that one. Easy kill coming out for World Elite. Not really losing much health to the tower, and that tower is going down as well.
And they actually teleported in as well to get 5 members up top. This is just free reign for Fnatic to try to push side turrets. I don't know how they're going to deal with this, because when you send 5 up there, you're really going to want to push for multiple turrets. Can Fnatic hold this off, or are they just content trying to trade mid and bot?
Well, you can see the mid lane has gone down already. Soaz is going to get that top lane down and the bottom lane down as well. They are going to react to this one, but I think they've kept them at bay. So that's not really a great trade for Team WE there. They are going to pick up the blue buff as an advantage to walk away from this one, but they've just lost 2 towers for that one push.
It's a good tactical trade there by Fnatic. The teleport did not need to be used, and it actually gave Soaz a good amount of breathing room. So a lane that Xiaomei over in bottom should be winning against Malphite, because he's burned those 2 teleports to try to make action happen near the blue buff. It's making Soaz more potent on Malphite. They're stretching this one out okay. It's 21.6k to 17.6k. With that first blood double kill, it's very difficult to come back from. They're still really backs against the wall, but they're not out of it yet.
Yep, World Elite just finishing that Infinity Edge there on Ezreal. So that's a bit of a power spike, along with the Abyssal Scepter now complete on Diana. So that's two big items coming into the fray. They've got that Shirelia's finish on Olaf, so they can get into or out of these fights as quickly as they wish. Weizhou actually has a double buff on us now, and as I said, with that Infinity Edge, this could be dangerous times for Fnatic.
And it's actually really funny because, as we see a push up mid lane, Weizhou always went Trinity Force on his AD carries, but Reckless went the Infinity Edge against Team WE when Reckless was playing Ezreal, and now it's just been copied straight away by Weizhou. He's coming up top for Reckless. If Reckless gets caught out here, he's going to be dead.
Well, he runs is there, he clears out the wave, so he doesn't have any problems about fighting a bit large group of minions, but doesn't want to fight Vayne in that bush. Now Soaz is going to come around the side, but he backs through the tri-bush and away from the danger.
So really, Soaz kind of saving his bacon there, but that was a very good play by Reckless, just not engaging Weizhou, giving his team as much time as possible to help him. But he's staying up there. If he shows himself, Clearlove might be coming in behind Soaz for gank.
Yep, and a quick question out before we maybe get into this one. Is that the synergy with Nunu, the reason why he's gone in for that Infinity Edge, for the auto-attack extra damage?
It very well could be. The multiplication will be very well. Soaz going to have to be burning some form of flash or ultimate to get out of this one. Or, never mind, I'm wrong. He's going to walk away. Whoops.
Well, I'm sure he's happy with that, so as that he didn't have to use either of those two. But at this point of the game, let's have a look again at the gold. 19.4 to 23.9. That translates, you know, 1,000 gold pretty much all over the place, except the top lane, which is actually really, really even.
And they're just really putting a lot of attention up towards Soaz here, trying to wait in the brush. Scouted properly by the Mystic Shot. WE looking for their window to attack. They're really trying to press the aggression here. You can see just with the way they're grouping up. They're going to try to push this turret. Going to be hard for Soaz to hold against 4.
Yeah, Messiah comes around as well. The rest of Fnatic responding to this one, but Reckless is still down the bottom. They've given up on this turret. That's going to be an inner turret picked up by Team WE, taking the advantage in their favor once again. It is square on turrets, but honestly, an inner turret for the two outers is very, very important. It's giving WE a huge advantage. And a troll face appears.
Switch it back. This is not supposed to be happening. I'll give you the radio broadcast. Okay, we're back. Do not want.
Do not want indeed. So someone in the production having a little bit of a fun at the expense of a grand final here at the IPL5. And meanwhile, Salme pushing the advantage in that bottom lane, chat. Looking across the board at these items, Soaz he's trying to sniff out, trying to pick up any advantage he can, but are Fnatic really going to be looking for the fight yet? Surely they want to just continue on their merry farming way.
Fnatic's going to have to continue playing scared, and it's so against their style that it's very, very difficult for this to happen. Diana now coming into the mid lane for WE. If Diana can just hop in, it's going to be the end for Fnatic. They're really hanging on by a thread here. They have not been able to really farm out. The lead continually extending for Team WE, and here they're grouping up for yet another turret.
Yeah, again, going for those objectives straight in towards the turret. They may, however, get caught if they're not careful with this one. We can see that World Elite backing away and Rated coming around. You've got Soaz off to the side, and World Elite with that ward placement, sniffing it out early enough so that they could back away. And actually, Diana's there as well. This is a big grouping up around that Dragon area.
We'll see now. They know the Dragon's up. Fnatic, they're desperate here. They're going to try to go for the Dragon. 2 members of WE were shopping. They might be able to pick this one up, but if WE catches them in a fight, it could be bad, or it could be Fnatic's moment to get back in the game.
Messiah not in the fight. He's a long, long way off this one. Soaz hasn't gone in there. The Zyra ultimate just turning on towards Salme. Salme going for it. That's going to be Shirelia's popped. Salme getting a little bit too deep. Still Messiah is not in the fight. Now he's starting to come across the top. Fnatic wisely disengaging, and PK catching the charm straight on towards Messiah there. Very well played. Has got his ultimate available. The Moonfall comes out, but the damage is not there, and PK just backs away. Has that turned any advantages in their favor? They're just going to have to stand off here, Jack.
It's a successful Dragon for Fnatic, clawing their way back into the goal lead, and they did disengage Team WE, which is exactly what they wanted to do. Able to stay elusive and slippery. They really have to hit some item thresholds before they're willing to fight, because you look at the completed items, and it's Fnatic with Zeals, Fiendish Codex, a Giant's Belt, and you look across to Team WE, they got Abyssal Scepters, Aegises, Infinity Edges. They're way stronger right now, even though they only have a 4,000 gold lead.
Seeing them pushing into that middle turret, deciding, well, 5 men still there defending for Fnatic. We can't have that one. But we are seeing pretty much typical Weizhou behavior, which is going towards that jungle, steal away everything you can. It's a little advantage that you gain, but every little helps. And if you do that for 20, 30 minutes, depending how long the game is, it can turn into a big advantage.
So now we see Soaz again. He's really been the one who's had to stand near these turrets while everyone on Team WE looks to push. He's getting quite farmed because of it. He really needs to start completing some of these items, though, so they're able to team fight. Big completion there. Phantom Dancer onto Reckless. Maybe now he can get some potency out of that Vayne play. But that bottom turret actually looking in trouble. WE finishing it off.
WE and his Messiah getting down there, so that gives the advantage in turrets to Team WE. 3-2, 6-1 in kills still. And that 5k gold advantage. It's a pretty big gold advantage when you're only talking 30k between the teams.
And it's just that percentage gold lead has almost stayed standard the whole time. At one point it was 7,000 to 5,000, and they've just continually increased it. Still, so much pressure has been applied by Team WE this whole time. A lot of it really just off the back of that early game double kill. It's almost like ever since that second game where they caught Soaz out, Fnatic hasn't been able to teamfight because WE made some kind of brilliant tactical play that just allowed them to get the upper hand and hold it. They're playing so well as a team right now. This is really such an impressive weekend showing for them this entire time through. They've almost looked unbeatable. Fnatic, the only team to even scratch the surface what WE is capable of. They're looking like they're in a powerful position here.
Yep, and they're holding firm as well. They want to seal the deal with this one. You don't want to be taking it right down to that final game at a 2-2 scoreline with everything on the line. They want to finish it right here, right now. They've got off to that good start to move straight through. You can see that PK just getting himself extra bit of farm. He's actually 10 CS above Messiah, but way behind on the kills. 0-1-0 compared to the 3-1-3. There's the gold for you. 6,900 to 5,900. Good solid 1,000 gold extra for Messiah. And they're still hanging around this middle lane. They want to take this outer turret in the middle lane because, Jack, it offers you so much vision, that middle tower. And
they already have 2 turrets. They already have 3 turrets down, but not that big, crucial turret. Once they get this, the Oracle's Elixir from Clearlove's really going to be even more important. But Fnatic has done such an impeccable job holding that turret up. It's barely been touched. It's really what's keeping them stalling in this match. And you can tell WE is really taking their time here. The big thing in these team fights is going to be Wei Xiao. Because of that new Blood Boil and because of that Lulu's support, he's going to be such almost a raid boss trying to take him down, going to be killing everything. Moving on to another bottom turret. Fnatic really just trying to match where WE's going, but as they do that, WE's getting more jungle and slowly creeping up that lead.
And slowly but surely, Soaz being kept away. Oh, spots the ward in that bush. Cyanide with the Oracle now. Can they try and close on towards Sao Mei? It's an advantage they could get. They do manage to get the shard on him. They're going to continue chasing him. He can just pop his Ragnarok if he were to require, but instead they are going to give up the middle turret.
They've left the mid turret undefended. Just a brief lapse trying to get some damage on it, Sao Mei, and that crucial middle turret is now down for Team WE.
And that's one thing that Sao Mei throughout the tournament. We saw it earlier on as Rengar. He's a very distracting figure. He's pulled countless amount of teams to other lanes while the rest of his team have just pushed somewhere else. And that's something that's really, really going well for World Elite. And again, they are now back down towards this bottom. And you can see that Fnatic aren't quite ready for that one.
It's the masters of split push, it almost seems. They've really started to perfect this strategy. Sao Mei and the entire team coordinating just tower pushes without even trying to fight. They're winning these games without actually trying to fight. It's all positional.
Oh,
Sao Mei, though, face checking again. It's got to be a bait.
It's massive bait. They're all sat in the bush just waiting for it, and then they realized it. They sensed it quickly, and they back away very wisely. So they're trying to pull out some of the ultis. Well, Team WE trying to be very sneaky.
And cautious, more so than anything. They're really trying to bait Fnatic into diving into them because they are actually still very afraid of diving onto a Zyra. They know the potency and the ability for Zyra to turn those teamfights around with that giant area knockup, really waiting until they can either instantly give someone or get a pick. And why not? Because this entire game, these last 2 matches, the 5 matches they've actually won against Fnatic this entire tournament, that's how they've executed.
And Fnatic just trying to farm up as much as they possibly can. I mean, you look at the difference there between the 2 AD carries. Yes, Vayne is going to get stronger and stronger, but to be honest, the way that Wei Xiao is building here, he's just going to have, quite frankly, more power until we see the next big item, that Infinity Edge or Bloodthirster coming out of Vayne.
And in all honesty, I don't know if Reckless is ever going to get more powerful than Wei Xiao in this game.
Yeah.
Mainly because of Nunu, you know. Ezreal will slightly outrange, and here comes Reckless getting crushed off.
Absolutely caught out there, condemned away, but he's not going to be enough. Uses his ultimate. Oh, and he flashes away. Oh, the last minion hit's coming in. Oh, it's not quite enough. And Cyanide Crescent sweeps Messiah away, and Reckless avoids damage with a just slither of health.
That was really clever escape there by Reckless. I thought for sure Messiah had finished him off there, really cleansing out the last second of the Ignite damage. But again, because they've taken them out of the fight, because they burned the Xin Zhao ultimate, they were thinking about the Baron buff. Fnatic, though, warding out, giving themselves vision.
And again, Malphite is not there. And the difference between those two is, you know, Xiaomei can stay bottom here, keep Malphite away from the rest of his team, and if they do go to Baron, he can pop that teleport and get straight in with them.
This is actually brilliant because normally Malphite would be able to stop a teleport with his unstoppable force, but if Xiaomei popped his Ragnarok and then teleported, there's no way Solas could interrupt it, so he can always make it up to that Baron buff if they decide to force a 5v4.
So Reckless going back towards that top lane, trying to farm it out, trying to catch any advantage, but Dragon being picked up, Wei Zhao farming that one out quite happily. Slow lane, they might catch someone in the jungle here. There's a whole plethora of them moving through. The wards are there, and N-Rated very cautiously makes his approach, but another advantage gain. Tower down, 5-2 in turrets now, and the gold lead continues to stretch in Team WE's favor.
And this is a methodical execution of killing towers. That's now 5 turrets down, and they've never had to fight for one, really. Like, they haven't gotten a kill in quite some time, but their advantage continues to grow. And Wei Zhao, with the Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, and a Negatron Cloak, he's 50 minion kills ahead of Reckless. He's a kill ahead as well, and the Nunu Blood Boil from Clearlove, which is at 3 points, giving him an extra 45% attack speed, is just going to be brutal if Fnatic ends up trying to force a fight.
And it almost feels like the Moscow 5 Azubu Blaze Game 2, which was the one that ended 12-0. They took literally everything on the map, and they just couldn't fight or didn't want to fight. Just methodical play here from World Elite, going tower to tower. That split pushing working brilliantly, as you said. Xiaomei, once he's got Ragnarok on, you can't stop him teleporting with that unstoppable force anyway. So what does Malphite do? He can't leave because he's going to lose towers, but he can't really stay either, as we are going to see Soaz coming in there. Flash and ultimate burn there for nothing.
He just couldn't quite get him. I think FZZF flashed the unstoppable force from Soaz.
Yeah.
That's really going to hurt Soaz's team fighting ability. And like you said, Joe, it's just they got the early edge, and they've been so flawless in their execution of this strategy that they're kind of just winning. Fnatic can try to stop things, but the windows of opportunity just aren't being presented by Team WE. They're playing so cautious and so well. And in bottom lane, you can see Xiaomei just continually farming up. They know they've gotten some harass down. They could do that teleport strat. They know the Unstoppable Force isn't even up, so he could save his Ragnarok for when he goes into the fight. This is danger coming up for Fnatic.
Well, Reckless is on the red. He could move down towards the bottom of the game. The ping's coming out, and Xiaomei just continue to pressure. Oh, they're camping out on the blue. And Cyanide, this is very dangerous position for them. Team WE are collapsing in. Their ward gives their position away. There's 3 members of Fnatic split away here. They're not too sure which way to run.
Ragnarok
it's going to be the chart. Ragnarok comes in, N-rated. It's going to get around. There's going to be Ragnarok straight in there. Xiaomei. And that is going to be a free Baron. There's just nothing Fnatic can do about that.
Fnatic sent 2 members into the bottom lane to try to kill Olaf. Xiaomei, again, with being the split push master, just gives them this free Baron. There's nothing they can do against it. There's nobody here because they spent 2 members down, split pushing, so distracting. The only thing that could happen is Cyanide could come in for a steal, but it's too early.
It's too early. He comes in crescent sweeps. He's just popped where he stood. He came in blind, and that was going to be another death. 9-1, Baron advantage. Huge, huge position for Team WE versus Fnatic here in the match that could win it for them.
They're going right into the brush.
They're going to fight this one out. There's the condemned. Wei Zhao actually will get over the wall. Unstoppable Force comes in. This could be good. There's a Lulu ultimate go down. The Absolute Zero as well. And Soaz going to be ripped to pieces with that Lulu ultimate in there as well to help.
That was almost an absolute desperation play by Fnatic. They were so tired of not fighting, but really they were committing themselves to a 5v3 against a Baron team. Sure, they were low, but that's just not something that's really going to work for them. Snowballing this advantage even more for Team WE, and now that there's 2 members down yet again, they're probably going to take an inhibitor off this one. They're pushing the base hard.
They're going in. Messiah diving straight on towards N-rated, and he's just going to get caught out where he stands. XPK coming around. He does manage to get the jump. No, misses the glitter ball. The charm fires past as well, and Messiah baits it away. While this is all happening, the inhibitors going down as well. PK does pick up the kill, so that is the AP carry down, but well, Team WE hit and run. Inhibitor down.
It's another one of these plays. These guys are so good at communicating. They're creating distractions for Fnatic, which is allowing them to take huge objectives. We saw it with the Baron, Xiaomei taking up Vayne and Soaz's time. then just getting the hell out of there with his teleport. And even with the inhibitor, Messiah just decided to suicide in, and they got the free inhib completely uncontested. That could have been a lot more difficult if there had actually been a fight to stop it. They have the Baron buff. That 20-second death timer doesn't really matter for them, and this lead has ballooned.
And one thing that they did that we didn't point out with that Baron is Olaf went up and put 2 wards inside of the jungle to wait for anyone to come down. As soon as they spotted Vayne, that's an easy call for that one. And we see there again, Thornmail just actually being finished up, and that's going to really stop this Vayne. I think we saw in CLG versus World Elite that massive, crazy 70-minute game that at the end, Rengar had a Thornmail, and Kog'Maw 1v1 him actually was killing himself more than anything.
I think it was more of a 1v4 at the end of that game with Kog'Maw killing himself. Xiaomei just is a monster right now. For a team fight to happen, XPK and Soaz are going to be diving all the way in, so even though they have a fair bit of magic damage on Fnatic, Xiaomei's just stacking up 299 armor because the only thing he's worried about is Reckless. They're going to be going in for more inhibs here. That's got to happen.
Well, they just caught out in the blue buff, obviously, there. True Shot Barrage by Cameron Cross didn't quite get it, but it does also give them vision and realize that they are only 4-man on this bottom turret. They're not going to push it, though. They're not going to dive. They do have the Baron, but this, as you mentioned, methodical play from Team WE here, just slowly but surely pushing every advantage.
And oh my god, look at Wei Zhao's items. Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper, and an Executioner's Calling. That's a build cap right now. It multiplies so well with what he's doing with Nunu right now. This dive is, if they fight here, even if they tank the turret, it's going to be so hard for Fnatic to stay in it.
Could this be it for World Elite? Cyanide taking a bit of chip there. The Axe's coming in as well. So as obviously the one that has to really control this fight with that unstoppable force to give Zyra the ultimate positioning as well. Here from the side as World Elite hanging outside of that base. Here we go then, going to put some pressure down. Charm actually lands onto Xiaomei. There comes the ultimate out of Zyra as well. Oh, World Elite going to back away. Messiah's right in the middle as he pops Azonya's hourglass. Here comes the rest of the team.
The unstoppable force came out, but it wasn't really enough. They do take down Messiah, but everybody else is in trouble. Xiaomei completely tanking Reckless down and Rated in trouble. They're all caught out by the tower. Piqué having to use his ultimate to try and avoid the damage. It's a triple kill for Wei Zhao, though. He is stomping through. The Piqué goes down. It's a ultimate ace there. And Team WE just turning on the pressure, turning on towards the Nexus turrets.
They are going to tank this one up, Jack.
Much like the tournament, they just crushed the final game. It's only fitting. They lost a few for Fnatic, but that was brilliant execution for Team WE.
Let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen. Team World Elite, the winners of the IGN Pro League 5 here in Las Vegas. Fantastic performance. A lot of people didn't expect World Elite to be #1. Some of them did, and well, those people were right. I think you were one of them.
$50,000. I called it in Singapore, I'd like to say. Well, I was in Singapore, but $50,000 to Team WE, $20,000 to the second place of Fnatic. Not a bad